Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the Albay Provincial Health Office, through its Water, Sanitation and Hygiene team, is conducting regular water quality monitoring and testing to protect evacuees amid the continuing unrest of Mayon volcano. The office said an initial wash assessment was carried out in evacuation centers to identify gaps and priority needs, especially in areas with rising numbers of evacuees. WASH Team Head and Sanitation Inspector 1, Alberto Ezoringo RN, said water samples were submitted for laboratory testing on January 12. Oringo said laboratory results are expected by January 19 to guide planned interventions in coordination with the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Health Team. He said PHO had earlier distributed 10 boxes of Aquatabs, each containing 100 water purification tablets, to all local government units prior to the volcano's eruption. The office also expressed readiness to provide augmentation support to local government units needing additional sanitation and health commodities. The water quality monitoring aims to ensure that water used for drinking, cooking, and hygiene meets national safety standards and prevents waterborne diseases during prolonged stays in evacuation centers. In other story, the Albay Provincial Health Office convened a coordination meeting to streamline the province's medical response as Mayon volcano continues to exhibit heightened unrest. The meeting was held following the elevation of the volcano's alert status by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, prompting the Department of Health Bicol to maintain a code-white alert across all provincial, district, and municipal hospitals. Acting Albay Provincial Health Officer Dr. Stella B. Senate led the discussions to ensure health facilities are prepared for possible patient surges and evacuation-related medical needs. Public and private stakeholders participated to align disaster response protocols and improve interagency coordination. Participants included the Department of Health Bicol Center for Health Development, the Provincial Department of Health Office, the Bicol Regional Hospital and Medical Center, the Philippine Red Cross, Mercury Drug, private health institutions, and provincial government-managed hospitals. Health officials reported the prepositioning of essential medicines, proactive equipment, and medical supplies to address health risks from asphalt and possible pyroclastic density currents. Authorities also urged the public to strictly follow health and safety advisories as volcanic activity remains elevated. The Provincial Health Office said it remains on full alert to ensure the resilience and readiness of Albay's healthcare system amid the continuing threat posed by Mayon volcano. In other news, the Civil Service Commission expressed strong support for the institutionalization of the Municipal Environment and Natural Resources Office, MENRO, as the provincial government advances efforts to strengthen local environmental governance. The support was conveyed during a coordination meeting led by the Provincial Environment and Natural Resources Office to discuss requirements for the formal establishment of MENRO in local government units. Civil Service Commission Albay Field Office Director Sharon Farida A. Flores provided guidance on civil service rules, staffing standards, and organizational requirements needed for compliance. The meeting was presided over by Provincial Administrator Engineer Raul E. Rizal and attended by key stakeholders involved in the proposed institutionalization. Flores emphasized that adherence to CSC policies is essential to ensure mineral offices are properly staffed, sustainable, and capable of delivering effective environmental services. The CSC's technical assistance is expected to help the province move forward with compliant and effective environmental governance reforms at the municipal level. In the national scene, Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson accused former Department of Public Works and Highway Secretary Manuel Bunuan of submitting wrong coordinates of flood control projects to Malacanang, allegedly to mislead an investigation using data from the Sumbong sa Pangulo website. Lacson said the incorrect data resulted in flood findings on 421 supposed ghost flood control projects, hurting the credibility of the website and forcing DPWH to correct its records. He claimed Bunuan deceived President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and suggested the act showed involvement in a cover-up, while Bunuan, who is currently in the United States, has yet to respond to media requests. Lacson said the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee will issue a subpoena to force Bunuan to attend hearing, warning that he could face contempt and arrest if he refuses. Same step to be taken against former Congressman Saldico if he continues to skip hearings. The committee will also question former DPWH officials about alleged attempts to make them review key DPWH documents known as the Cabral files, and look into claims linking former House Speaker Martin Romualdez to the purchase of a luxury house in Makati. In other story, the approved 2026 national budget secured funding for the increase in the base pay and benefits of military and uniformed personnel, according to Acting Budget Secretary Rolando Toledo. Toledo said the approval of programmed appropriations ensures the release of the first tranche of the salary increase starting January, in line with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s Executive Order number 107. Under the approved budget, 21.7 billion pesos was allotted for the first tranche of the base pay adjustment, including 15.4 billion pesos for active personnel and 6.3 billion pesos for pension obligations. The budget also provided 17.1 billion pesos to increase the subsistence allowance of all MUP to 350 pesos per day effective January 1. An additional 4.06 billion pesos was approved to fund 10,077 new MUP positions across the AFP, PNP, BFP, Bucor, and Philippine Coast Guard. Toledo said the budget's approval guarantees the three-tranche implementation of the 15% pay hike from 2016 to 2028, benefiting more than 470,000 active personnel and about 200,000 pensioners. In other news, the Philippine National Police on Wednesday said it has not monitored any security threats related to the country's hosting of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit this year. Police Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said the PNP, along with other law enforcement agencies, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine Coast Guard, and local communities, has been preparing for a year to secure the event. He said security operations are ready for implementation through close coordination with the AFP and local government units to ensure peace and order during ASEAN-related activities. AFP Deputy Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Romel Roldan said the military is prepared to provide full support to the PNP, which will take the lead in safety and security operations. Nortati said ASEAN lanes for VIPs will again be implemented in Manila, with the 48th ASEAN Summit set in Mactan, Cebu on May 8 and 9, and the 49th ASEAN Summit is scheduled at the Philippine International Convention Center from November 10 to 12, 2026. And in the news outside the country, a crane collapsed on a passenger train at a China-backed high-speed rail site in Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand on Wednesday, killing at least 32 people, injuring 64, and leaving 3 missing. The crane fell while resting on concrete pillars, derailing the train and slicing through one carriage as rescuers searched through wreckage for survivors and victims. Italian Thai Development, the company building the section of the railing project, expressed condolences and said it would take responsibility for compensating victims' families and covering medical costs, while Transport Minister Pipat Ratchakit Prakarn called for accountability. Thailand's state rail operator ordered construction halted and set up a fact-finding committee to prosecute those responsible, with all parties, including the Chinese consultancy involved, under scrutiny. The accident raises safety concerns about Italian Thai Development, which has been linked to previous deadly crane and building collapses, as the high-speed rail project aims to connect Bangkok to China via Laos by 2028 under Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative. In other story, the United States on Wednesday announced the suspension of immigrant visa processing for applicants from 75 countries, marking President Donald Trump's latest move to tighten immigration policies. The State Department said it will apply existing authority used to deny visas to applicants likely to rely on public welfare as a basis for a blanket pause based on nationality. The State Department spokesman Tommy Piggott said the suspension is intended to prevent the entry of foreign nationals who may seek government benefits while immigration procedures are being reviewed. White House and State Department officials said the countries affected include Somalia, Russia, Iran, Nigeria, Iraq, and Yemen, as well as U.S. partners such as Brazil, Egypt, and Thailand, though no complete list has been released. The freeze will take effect January 21 with no end date set and will not affect tourist or business visas, as the administration reported more than 100,000 visas revoked and over 605,000 deportations since Trump's return. And finally, in the news outside the country with reference to the Philippines. The Philippines is not included among the 75 countries affected by the United States' temporary suspension of immigrant visa processing, according to Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Romualdez. Romualdez confirmed via text message on Thursday that Filipino nationals are excluded from the visa restrictions, ensuring continued immigration processing for Philippines citizens. The U.S. State Department, led by Secretary Marco Rubio, said consular officers have been instructed to halt immigrant visa applications from the 75 countries identified under the November order, targeting potential immigrants likely to rely on public benefits. The suspension will not affect non-immigrant applicants, including tourist, business, or temporary visas, which will continue to be processed normally. And that's all for the news at 12, January 16, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, LJ Lurejo and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Ted Bovis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIC Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rosal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.